The lecture hall fell silent as Instructor Krelvax clicked his mandibles in what passed for a smile among the Zentarii. His 4 eyes gleamed with barely concealed pride as he gestured to the holographic display showing a barren, battle-scarred moon. "And here," he announced to the assembled cadets from 17 different species, "is where I earned my War Master designation. The human colony never saw us coming. 300 settlements. Gone in a solar rotation." Most of the students shifted uncomfortably. The Galactic Concordat had strict laws about war crimes now, but Krelvax had committed his atrocities during the border wars, before humanity joined the Council. Technically, he was untouchable. "Humans," he continued, his voice dripping with contempt, "are weak. Fragile. Their bones break easily, their skin tears like paper, and their ridiculous reliance on a single heart makes them pathetically vulnerable. I personally eliminated 47 of them. Barely worth the ammunition." In the back row, a human girl named Rebecca Martinez sat perfectly still. Her instructors had warned her about Krelvax. About his history. About his hatred. They'd advised her to transfer to a different combat strategy course. She'd refused. Rebecca was from Houston, Texas, a city that had been partially glassed during the border wars. She'd grown up in the rebuilt sections, where memorials to the dead lined every street. Her grandfather's name was on one of those walls. "You there," Krelvax's voice cut through her thoughts. "Human. Stand." Rebecca rose smoothly, her 5 feet 6 inches frame dwarfed by most of the other species present. At standard galactic gravity, roughly 60% of Earth's, she felt light as air. "Tell the class," Krelvax said, clicking his mandibles in amusement, "why should we believe humans deserve a place in the Concordat's military? Your species has no natural armor, no venom, no redundant organs. You're from a backwater death world that somehow produced the weakest sentient species we've encountered. Permission to demonstrate, sir." Rebecca's voice was steady, calm. Krelvax's mandibles spread wider. "This would be entertaining." "Granted. You said humans have no natural advantages," Rebecca began, walking down the steps toward the instructor's platform. "That's not quite accurate. You see, you called Earth a death world, but you don't really understand what that means." She stopped 3 meters from him. Every species in the room could sense the tension building. The Zentarii were apex predators on their homeworld, 2.5 meters tall, 4 arms, natural exoskeleton armor. Krelvax had killed humans before. He'd enjoyed it. "Earth's gravity is 1.8 times standard galactic," Rebecca continued. "Our atmosphere has more oxygen than 90% of habitable worlds. Our planet is covered in organisms that evolved specifically to kill us, venomous insects, predatory mammals, bacterial infections, viral plagues. Humans don't just survive Earth. We conquered it." "Impressive speech," Krelvax sneered. "But words don't." He never finished the sentence. Rebecca moved. Years of training in Earth's punishing gravity had built muscle density that most species couldn't match. Her fist traveled the distance in a blur, striking Krelvax's primary thorax joint with the force of a hydraulic press. The crack echoed through the lecture hall. Krelvax staggered back, chittering in shock and pain. He'd fought in dozens of battles, but he'd never experienced this. This was like being hit by a cargo loader. Before he could recover, Rebecca was inside his guard. She grabbed his lower right arm and twisted, using leverage and technique that would have made her judo instructors proud. Despite outweighing her by over 100 kilograms, Krelvax found himself airborne, then slamming into the deck plating hard enough to crack his exoskeleton. "You want to know about human advantages?" Rebecca's voice remained eerily calm as she pinned 2 of his arms with precise joint locks. "We have the best endurance of any species in the galaxy. We can track prey for days without stopping. We heal from injuries that would kill most species. And we remember." She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the silent hall. My grandfather was stationed on Kepler, 442b. He was one of your 47. I've spent every day since I was 6 years old training for this moment. Not to kill you, that would be too easy. But to show you what you actually fought during the border wars. You didn't fight humanity at its best. You fought farmers, colonists, families. You bragged about killing people who'd never held a weapon before. Rebecca released him and stepped back, her breathing barely elevated despite the exertion. But I'm not them. I'm what humans become when we have something to prove. I'm what your war created. Krelvax struggled to his feet, 3 of his eyes already swelling shut, mandibles clicking erratically. He reached for the security alert on his desk, but his motor control was failing. Humans had a reputation now, everyone knew about their combat prowess, but experiencing it firsthand was different. Terrifying. I could have crushed your primary heart, Rebecca said quietly. Ruptured your respiratory sacs. Fractured your cognitive chamber. I know exactly where every Zentarii vital organ is located. I've studied your species the way you studied us. The difference is, I learned how to win. She turned to address the class, most of whom sat frozen in shock. The instructor is correct about one thing, humans are fragile compared to many species. But fragility taught us to be smart. To be faster. To be relentless. We didn't evolve on a paradise world where food was plentiful and predators were slow. We evolved in hell, and we learned to love the heat. Rebecca walked back to her seat, leaving Krelvax gasping on the platform. Medical teams were already rushing in. Class dismissed, she said to no one in particular. As the other students filed out, giving her a wide berth, Rebecca sat down and pulled out her data pad. She had an essay due tomorrow on asymmetric warfare tactics. The irony wasn't lost on her. The next day, Instructor Krelvax requested a transfer to administrative duties. Rebecca Martinez graduated top of her class and went on to become one of the Concordat's most decorated officers. But she never forgot that day, or the lesson she'd taught. Humans weren't the strongest. They weren't the fastest. They weren't the most advanced. But they were from Earth. And that made all the difference.